All right, good afternoon. Our next speaker is going to be Matthew Luttenberger. He's going to be talking about M.A.R.S. University.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, hello. I'm here to speak about M.A.R.S. University. It's an idea I had a couple years ago. I'm just going to hit play and let the slides do their thing, because frankly, I've had this conversation with myself over the course of the last 3 years, and every time I have this conversation, it's different. So I'm going to try to stay on topic. I'm going to try to stay in this mode, but I'm going to sit here and say that, oops, I'd like a slideshow. How do I get a slideshow, folks? No, seriously, folks, how do I get a slideshow? Oh, slideshow up top. Okay, thanks. Okay, let me start again. My name is Matthew Luttenberger. I'm here to speak about M.A.R.S. University. It's a place to study, explore, and try new things. I want to do this as in the theme of our conference this year, from imagination to reality. I mean, how many times have you ridden a rocket? And I mean that, like, I've never ridden a rocket. I want us to make a rocket so that you can ride a rocket, so you can feel what it feels like to be an actual astronaut, to understand what it means to put on the suit, how long does it take? One of my first introductions to being an adult was how long it takes to actually do the dishes, to do laundry. So in that sense, how do you, as a theoretical scientist, know what it feels like to be isolated for 3 months and to be in a cold environment and dark environment for 3 months and isolated? I want us to present that as an opportunity. And us, I mean the M.A.R.S. Society. I think after 20 years of us coming here to speak and present our ideas, we should have a location. We should have a place that we can actually say, you want to learn at any age? Come here. I've heard many different presentations, and they're all accurate. They're all valid. I would like to bring those into one location so that it's not just a one weekend a year type event where we can actually present all of these ideas. We can hire engineers, budding engineers, students, plumbers for that matter. I have a lot of friends who just let me talk and they let me just rattle things off. But for the most part, they're plumbers, they're electricians, they're sanitary expertise, they're farmers. These are people that have real life skills that we are trying to bring with us. At the same time, these are real life skills that they are making $1 off of. So if we can give them a product that happens to suck up all of the fungus that might be out of a Hurricane Harvey flood zone area, or that we can put into a home and say, this is going to be your bio monitor system. This is going to be what we produce. So I'm just going to let these run. These are all space photos or other related photos. But the idea of has anybody done that in this room? I mean, I haven't, but I would like to. These globes, I would like us to make them as artists. I would like us to sell them. This is the whole bottom line of everything, is we need profit in order to do what we want to do. So here's a way that we can concentrate many of these programs to allow us the ability to get patents, to have manufacturing processes, to actually have the physical material that we're going to take with us. It goes beyond just making $1, though. This is the next generation of what our human next generations are going to be dealing with. I mean, cell phones, right? How many of us 20 years ago thought we would ever put one of these in our pockets? We have them, but yet that generation, no offense kids, but that generation doesn't know it any other way. They don't know of a phone that had a cord. They don't know of actually having a TV without a remote control. These are the things that I think our next generation people, and I don't mean the kids, I don't mean that you have to be 8 years old to be a part of this. I mean that if you're 50 and you're an experienced plumber and you're tired in your job, come here. Let's make rockets. We need plumbers that know how to work gas and HVAC systems. But I don't want to just say we need you. I want to say we will put you to work. And I mean a 40-hour work week. I mean getting paid. I mean to the sense of this is what I do. I'm not necessarily putting people on Mars, but the engineering that we do, the engineering that we perfect, is used elsewhere. That can also happen, though, here on Earth. And I see it as a generational thing, a generational of electronics, or a generational of ideas, where the first generation that we put out of, say, a bioremediation gases chamber might work fine. But let's make it +1. Let's do a little bit more the next time. Those are the kinds of senses of, it's not just research and development, but let's stop letting MIT, let's stop letting Caltech or JPL take all of those patents. Let us, the M.A.R.S. Society, have control over some of this technology, proprietary technology. In that sense, we will give ourselves a funding ratio. We will give ourselves a return on investment. This whole, I love talking about it, and I'm an English and philosophy major, so I will talk to the end of the world about any idea possible. At the same time, I want to see it action. I want to see somebody take a rover and say, I can control that from Tallahassee, but it's in Sacramento. I want to say, because it's not just telepresence, it's getting used to the concept of it. Robotic surgery is very, very common now. Yet it takes probably 4 or 5 years of just training to finally get to a certain point of being certified to say, hey, we can let you do this on your own. That's the kind of thing I want to do here, where we don't just train you, we perfect it. We make it in a sense that what you know at M.A.R.S. University, or what you've learned at M.A.R.S. University, can get you a job at Lockheed Martin. It can get you a job at, say, Carrier. Or, for that matter, somebody from Carrier who just lost their jobs, come to M.A.R.S. University. Let's put you to work. We need AC units. We need heating units. We need all of these things. Well, that maybe we don't need, but we definitely need some sort of, the idea behind what you did will take us to where we want to go. And in that sense, I don't see a limitation in the ideas. All of the ideas in our booklets, sorry, I won't grab it, but all of the ideas in our booklet, all of the itinerary that we have, I want to host that. And I want to host it for the last 20 years. I want to make it so that you can come into a room like this, not necessarily listen to one of me or a lecturer, but you can hit a button and learn it. I mean, we have remote learning, and that's fine. We've understood it and we've accepted it. I want to take it one step further and say, how do we know that you are an expert in, say, CO2 remediation or conversions? M.A.R.S. University allows you to say, instead of an A, B, C, D, E, F grade, I would like to put it as atoms. Like true on, you walk into our door, or you walk into the door, you have one atom. You're a hydrogen atom, but you can't do much with it. So every step you take as a tourist, you get to add an atom. So if you say you want to learn about CO2, well, you need to have enough atoms to put together a carbon molecule, and enough atoms to put together 2 oxygen molecules. When you combine those, you have then, 20 atoms used up? What if one of the classes requires 4 tons of CO2 just to be able to say, we're going to step up our game, and you're going to have to know this math, you're going to have to know this language? That's where I see it as, if I want to create thorium, because I want to learn about the molten salt reactor, then I need to make enough atoms to produce a thorium atom or molecule. In that sense, I would like to take it as I came in as a tourist, I'm going to ride a rocket and I get probably 400 atoms for it. Pay $100, pay $1,000. Not necessarily, maybe not ride a rocket. Maybe you're going to take a helium balloon with a dragon. I mean, this is one concept, is a drag and drop. I would love to see the actual Dragon spacecraft go up to 10 miles and then drop. And with all 6 people in there, we need a driver, we need a navigator, we need a systems engineer. That kind of thing isn't just tourism anymore. It's the full-on engineering. And that's where I want to bring us to. It's not just one thing or another. It's you can take this experience and go create a salt reactor for, say, Procter & Gamble, right? That experience that you have then, I guess, how do we get it? You can bring it back when you're done with whatever company you're working on. Say you're tired of working in Philadelphia and you want to go and explore somewhere new. Come on up. By all means, though, let me start a little bit and give you a buffer as this. I live in Marquette, Michigan. It's the upper Midwest. It's right along Lake Superior, if anybody's a Michigan fan. The UP, thank you.
Not in the UP.
Oh yeah, we're way up there in UP.
You're in the UP.
We're like there, right along Lake Superior. So we have cold water. We have a dark sky. We have northern lights. We also have no planes. Like there's no traffic pattern for the most part over Lake Superior because basically Canada is kind of empty. At the same time, that city is losing a power plant. Well, not losing it, but the power plant itself, the company is saying we don't need to supply electricity anymore. So they're shutting down a coal generating power plant along Lakeshore. They also have a hospital that when I say they, I mean the companies in that town. There's an old hospital that they haven't decided what to do with. And then there's an old iron mine, that open pit iron mine about 15 miles out. So the idea was to take the power plant and everything that we need to do to create electricity and use that as a central point to test it, to make sure it happens, to try it out, to get the certifications, to say, yes, Carrier, this person knows how to do this HVAC system or this electricity generator. At some point, we have coal. So as a coal generating power plant, we could lead the way of conversion technologies. And I don't mean that as like, here's a trial and error part. I mean, say literally every smokestack that you see, the M.A.R.S. Society will put a windmill on it, we'll put a reactor on it, we'll put solar panels on it, and we will help your community out. We do it because we need the engineering experience. We also need the profit. With that profit margin, with that return on investment, we can do a lot of other things. I mean, $40 billion to fly a two-man crew back and forth around Mars is going to take $40 billion. How do we make it? Well, let's make things here on Earth. Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, all of Florida right now is our marketplace. Every flood they have, every rooftop that gets pulled off, we should be the ones who could say, we have 40,000 rooftop tiles. We can install them tomorrow for you. All of that is what I'm trying to get to as no longer an intellectual process. Let's make this real. Let's actually make this a thing where the product you make today is the equivalent of what we need on a spaceship or what we need on the modifications on Mars. That takes a lot of time and a lot of expertise and a lot of problems that might happen back and forth. So the idea is not, here's one product and let's go with it. I mean, because basically I started out thinking I would like to make windmills that are the size of my thumbs, but millions and millions and millions of them. So that could be 3D printed. That can be assembled. There's a certain element of understanding when you become a manufacturer. I mean, the idea of making just one rover is nice and it's appropriate. But what if you had 50? What if you had 80 rovers all moving at the same time, remotely controlled by somebody in all different parts of the world? Being up in the upper Midwest, we get a lot of snow. So my biggest pet peeve about it is that I get a snowbank about this tall of pushed road salt and crap into my driveway. I don't want to get up. I don't want to put on a snowsuit. At the same time, a snowsuit is exactly what we could produce and call it a spacesuit. A snowmobile suit with a helmet is the equivalent of a spacesuit. But yet, if we make it, we can actually integrate different technologies. At the same time, those engineers that are making it can go work for somebody like Ski-Doo. So I would like to take the opportunity of saying, here are all these ideas that we think we know how they work, and put 500 people on it and say, we're going to have a weekend race for RC cars or the snowmobile or the snow removal thing. I would like to do that from my living room on the Xbox or on the PlayStation. That's the kind of joysticks that, again, the younger generation are getting used to and that we should integrate into. Because it's not just that joystick interaction, it's the next step after that. Once somebody gets tired of using their thumbs after 400 different elements, you use something else. Maybe your whole hands, maybe it's a virtual thing. Maybe you don't actually have to have a mask on anymore, and we've set up a small area. Again, all of these things are theoretical at this point, but once you make them that first step to make it a reality, we can train everybody beyond that, and we can actually integrate those ideas into this present plan. I guess what I'm trying to get to is I want to make money. I mean, I want to make lots and lots and lots and lots of money. In order to do that, we need a market that will buy our things, and we need humans to make them. Most of my friends, like I said, are plumbers, engineers, and electricians. They're not looking to go into school again. They don't want to do anything more than put bread on the table or food on the table and pay for their kids', education. At the same time, they're bored. There's something where they, this concept of, I do this every day. Here, I'm putting this pipe, this together, this there. Now it's working, good. They've accomplished something, but they can't actually improve on it because they're getting paid. So in that sense, how do we get somebody who's a 50-year-old plumber interested in helping us get to Mars, helping us make money to get to Mars? And I don't really have the answer, but I think something like this, where you can actually go in, explore, and it doesn't actually, it is someplace physical. Don't get me wrong, you can't put 500 people somewhere without having a physical location. Same time, once you go there, and once you start it, you can move on to someplace else. The M.A.R.S. Academy, that was before me. Perfect example. All of that should be integrated and could be fostered with our help, or with this kind of help, where instead of paying a company somewhere else, we pay us to put together all the pictures, put together all the VR maps. Because I'm an artist. I started out making simple diagrams. I'm now making advertisements. I would love to put a catalog together of all the products that Mars Society makes so that we can sell them. If you get an order for, say, 15 bodysuits that can help miners in the iron ore mines way below the ground, that should be put together. All of those things can be worked on and sold out of, say, the M.A.R.S. Society idea. And in that sense, I would like to give us the opportunity to have a place where you can give your own presentation, not just one weekend of the year, but every day of the year. You can integrate it. Basically, an RC remote control, remote mining operation that we test and plan and somehow work out the kinks. I'm looking for a place so that we can start doing that physically in reality. And the upper Midwest has, like I said, an iron ore mine, has a hospital that has radiation rooms, or shielded rooms, and it also has a power plant right on the lake. So it has all of that solar energy coming off the lake. Again, all of those things are, how do we make money for us? If that means making millions of small windmills that are 3D printed and put together and sold, then so be it. If it means we make 4 search and rescue drones at $20,000 a pop, so be it. If we make submarines that you can float around in the water with and see manatees, so be it. These are the ideas that I would like to make happen. And in order to make it happen, I can't do it alone. So I'm sorry, I'm almost running out of time. So if anybody has any questions, please. And I know I've jumped over a lot of different topics. For basically, I have a list of 16 things here. I covered 6 of them. One of them is an aquarium. I would love to say to schools all across the world, Here's an aquarium hood. Put it on top of your aquarium. We need to increase the CO2 contents. We need to decrease the pressure. We need to monitor scientifically everything inside that aquarium. It's not just fun and games, though. We are trying to learn. Do ants act better underground with a high concentration of CO2? Do plants, the grasses that they plant, if we keep it warm, will they grow bigger? Will they grow smaller? I would like to have a collaborative effort with everybody to try to work with the M.A.R.S Society in getting those data points. I'm sorry. But did you have a question back there? No? Okay. Yep, okay. So I do have a minute left, and I'm sorry to run this all through quickly. Like I said, I've had 80 conversations, and none of them are the same. Yes, sir.
Are you thinking of like a M.A.R.S university, like a virtual university where it could be forums or?
I would actually like it to be more physical. I would like it to be so you could come in and actually, after learning about a speech, go and put together 400 different rovers and get used to, hey, those wheels could be built a little differently. Get used to that. Sorry, I'll come back to you. Yeah.
So are you still in conceptual stage, or what's your first step?
To get back home safely.
Well,
No, I mean, like, again, no, I haven't done anything other than put together this and talk to myself. So in some way, I am looking forward to seeing what the next step might be. And this was the first step to kind of introduce the M.A.R.S Society to this idea. Or let somebody take it and run with it. I mean, again, I don't need to be the executive director. I would love to just put together a catalog full of products. Sorry, we're running out of time, but yes, sir.
I was just wondering what your ideas would be about making that accessible to students across the country who may not have the resources to get to a physical location.
Yeah, by all means. Send them the gear, send them product listings, or let them decide what, because the resources are kind of us giving them the technology. And I mean them just being somebody who's interested. Because we need data points. We as a society, we as a M.A.R.S human generation don't know what we're going into. And so the more we can get our product out, the more we can get feedback from. So, and I think I'm out of time.
We actually have 5 minutes for questions.
Oh, okay. Thank you then. Are there any more questions? Okay, so this last slide of the light, I brought that in there because that's kind of how this is more important, by the way. But the light in the cave, the idea of being isolated, the idea of you creating your own electricity, your own light, your own heat, that's very important for this next generation. This idea of being isolated. When I flew over here, I can't tell you how many roads I saw that went to nowhere. Up in the upper Midwest, I have 2 roads to get through the UP. I mean, that's 2 roads. Everything else are trees. So for me, being isolated in the tree line without hearing a single car go by is tough. I mean, it gets nerve-wracking after 2 or 3 days of, hey, you're alone. You're on your own. So just the concept of seeing one tree in the middle of a field should be the part of this experience, because that one tree is what you planted and you watched and you saw grow. Again, I'm just trying to help the M.A.R.S Society make enough money, $40 billion according to the last estimate, to send people without NASA calling us up and saying, hey, you have to do this instead. I would like to make it so that this M.A.R.S Society, M.A.R.S University type of idea is universal. We could, since we're non-governmental, we're not beholden to the same governmental restrictions. So Russians, Iranians, ideally, I would love to bring a bunch of North Koreans and say, here, instead of putting bombs on those rockets, put humans, and let's put you to work. That's the idea, is to say, these search and rescue drones come off of a rocket, but the rocket itself was homemade, and it's ours. So in that sense, I look forward to the future. These are all different types of things. The self-lighting flagpole, that's been something I've been looking at forever, is every time I see a flag full mast, I think there's electricity that we haven't harnessed, and that bums me out. So in that sense, thank you for listening, and I think I'm finally done. Appreciate it, folks. Appreciate it.